Here's 5 tricks for martial characters in Pathfinder 2e. Number 1. Off guard. The off guard condition is the most prevalent and the easiest condition to get if you're a martial character. It gives a -2 circumstance bonus to the target's AC, and there are multiple ways of getting it. It's more than just flanking. You can also get it through certain feats, such as the fighter's Shattered Defenses feat, but the easiest way to get an opponent off guard to the entire party is to trip them or to grapple them. Which one of those you'll want to use depends on whether they have a higher fortitude or reflex DC. Tripping will be better against low reflex save opponents. Grappling will be better if the foe has a low fortitude save. But if you're a martial, consider getting that off-guard condition as much as you can, especially those that make the opponent off guard to the entire party and not just you. Number 2. Waste enemy actions. The thing about Pathfinder 2e encounters is that even on-level monsters are going to be tougher than a single character. As such, a lot of times when you're in encounters, you're going to be facing less creatures than the party has members, which makes their actions much more precious than yours. Even just moving can have a huge effect on a battle, especially if your character happens to be faster than the enemies. Think about it. If you're faster than the spellcaster and you move up to them, then they're going to have to decide whether they want to move once and cast a spell, thus allowing you to easily get up to them next turn, or make you use 2 actions on your next turn, but at the cost of no spell that round. The same is true if enemies have to move up to you. But moving isn't the only way that martials have to make enemies waste actions. Grappling and tripping do as well. If you trip an opponent, they have to spend one of their 3 actions getting back up. Otherwise, they'll take a penalty on their attack rolls. In the case of the grapple, they either have to get out of the grapple, or they have to spend that turn attacking you, specifically. Unless, of course, someone else happens to be in reach. But the point is, they're not moving anywhere unless they get rid of that grapple. But 9 times out of 10, most creatures are going to try to get out of the grapple. And with the new disarm action, that can waste an enemy's action as well. Otherwise, they're taking a penalty on their attack roll. Overall, if there's less opponents than you, then trading one action for another action is always worth it. Because a standard party has 12 actions, and if there's less enemies, then the enemies are going to have less than that. Maybe as few as 3 if there's only 1 enemy. And that's when it's hugely important, because if there's only 1 enemy, that means that enemy is hecka stronger than an individual party member. Number 3. Frightened. If you think that spellcasters are the only ones that can give status penalties to enemies, you're dead wrong. Anyone that's good at the intimidation skill can give a status penalty to everything with the frightened condition. All it requires is a demoralize action. Barbarians have a bit of trouble with this because of raging, but most other martials should be able to handle an intimidation check as long as they've got decent charisma. But keep in mind that whether you fail or succeed, that enemy is immune to further attempts to demoralize for the rest of the combat. However, some classes have feats that allow you to frighten a foe without using a demoralized check, like the fighter's Intimidating Strike. That feat is especially good because you can use it round after round and they won't become immune. Bottom line is, even as a martial, you shouldn't just focus on damage and athletics. There are other things you can do. Number 4. Recall knowledge. You probably heard the phrase, knowledge is power. And that is 100% true in Pathfinder 2e. Finding out enemies' weaknesses is definitely something you should do if you have a 3rd action. And just because you're a martial doesn't mean you can't help out with this. As long as you've got decent intelligence or wisdom, you should consider this as your 3rd action. In fact, plenty of martials have feats that facilitate this. The fighter's combat assessment, the ranger's monster hunter, and even the rogue's battle assessment are all examples. These all help in one way or another with information warfare, which can be very important. Number 5, attack penalty. With a lot of martials, it's very tempting to just attack 3 times. But unless you're going up against enemies that are weaker than you, that's not a great idea. You simply aren't going to hit on that 3rd attack. After all, a minus 10 to hit is a huge penalty. And there are plenty of options that you can do on your turn for your 3rd action. I covered some of them in this video, such as Recall Knowledge and Demoralize. But if neither of those options interest you, I did do a video on this very topic earlier that you can check out right here. Don't forget to check out my links in the description below for my Patreon, my Discord, and my social media. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.